Welcome to Kitchen Conversation. Today we're in the lovely Cotswolds in Campden BRI, one of the most respected research associations in the world, which is celebrating its 100 years. Today I'm joined by Stephen Walker, its CEO. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
Perhaps you could give us some highlights of Campden's first 100 years.
I think the organisation was created back in 1919 in response to food security issues. That following blockades in the First World War, it was how do we preserve fruits and vegetables, hence our location in the Cotswolds. We've progressed beyond that into not just bottling and canning, bottling and freezing, but also into all food preservation, and to foods, and most recently into foods and drinks, including alcoholic drinks. So it's been an exciting development as it's broadened its remit.
Almost 2,500 members, and you're certainly the go-to place if you have a food issue.
Well, we are a membership organisation, and you're absolutely right, 2,500 approximately in there, covering 18 of the 20 largest manufacturing companies in the world, covering the top 10 UK retailers. In food service, again, we have many of the food service clients, again, working with us.
So you really got the pulse on what's going on in the food industry.
I think it's fair to say that we spend a lot of time engaging with our members to understand what their needs are.
And what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that members are coming to you with?
At the moment, I think there's obviously food safety is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe not talked about as much as some of the other ones, but the food safety issues are perhaps, if you don't get it right, the quickest way for a company to lose its business.
Well,
so
absolutely.
Companies spend a vast amount of time on food management systems, and food safety management, but also on the testing and due diligence process. That almost sits under the radar, but it's an enormous part of the business. Food quality is an issue, in that if the food doesn't taste great, are you as a consumer going to buy it again and again and again? But on top of that, there are the issues in terms of sustainability. At the moment, very much driven by the use of single-use plastics.
Yes.
And how can we replace plastic? Plastic in the food industry has an essential role to play. It's an important part of the food industry. The question is, how can we look at changing that? Nutrition is a big issue. A lot of work in the last 15, 20 years on reducing saturated fats, sugar, salt. Perhaps not so much work done on what we need to add to foods to improve the diet. But diet and health, sustainability are probably the two biggest issues at this point in time.
Yeah, you can see it in the news, you can see the public are really sensitive to the whole thing.
Absolutely, and I think it's about understanding that from a research perspective, but also from an industrial perspective as to what does it mean.
Yeah, because the organisation is very much membership-led, and the members are very much led by the consumers, aren't they? It's consumers-driven and perspectives that really drive the work.
Back to Blue Planet, that triggered a lot of the plastics issue, and I think that's had an amazing effect worldwide. So I think it's about looking at what the consumers are seeing, what social media is saying, and what the manufacturers are responding to.
Because 10 years ago we were sitting down chatting then, it wouldn't have been on the radar at all, would
it? Wouldn't be on the radar. I think plastics would be on it, I don't think sustainability would be on it, nutrition was probably emerging, and probably authenticity was in its infancy in terms of making sure the food we're buying is what it says on the tin.
Because food fraud, again, before the horse meat scandal, wasn't seen as an issue, and now it's really up there on top of everybody's agenda.
Absolutely. Food fraud is one of the key issues of many companies, and I think, as methods of detection improve, as systems of management improve, we get better and better, but it's a game of cat and mouse between the fraudsters and the industry. And the industry does take food fraud incredibly seriously. It's not something they're trying to sweep under the carpet. They are trying to make sure that they understand what's going on in their supply chains.
From my experience, one of the great things that Campden is doing is when you investigate now and your analytical techniques and capability are so far ahead of what they were 10 years ago that you're finding things in food that we didn't know were in there.
Absolutely right, Sterling. I think that's one of the real issues is our methods of analysis have become so sophisticated. We're testing materials down in the billionth or trillionth part per million. So these are levels that were impossible 10 years ago. They've now become fairly routine. That's not to say what we're finding wasn't always there. We just didn't know it was there. And I think it will call to question the precautionary principle. What level might not have an effect on the human population? At the moment, there are certain chemicals that found are forbidden.
And so finally, Stephen, what do you think the holy grail is in food science? So what would be the thing that if you had a magic wand that you would make happen?
I think the most interesting area at the moment is the gut microbiome.
Yes.
And I think to understand that, I think we're scratching the surface at the moment. There is some excellent work being done around the world and in the UK, and we all know that the gut microbiome has an important effect on our physical abilities, but also affects mood and behaviours. And I think we can really understand what that relationship is and how we can amend that relationship in individuals. I think we will change significantly how the human body responds to food.
Well, thank you, Stephen Walker. That's a really interesting insight into Campden, the way that the food industry works, and also what perhaps one of the biggest challenges to us in the future, which is the gut microbiome. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you, Sterling.